use he and him pronouns. I'm joined today by Lynn Princeton, who will be our song leader, and the choir is up there also. And let's start today with song. Please rise in body and spirit as we sing Wake Now My Senses.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning at First Unitarian Church of Rochester. I am Reverend AJ. I use he and him pronouns, and I am delighted to serve as one of the ministers here along with Reverend Shari Halliday-Quan. We acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door, and part of the Haudenosaunee people on whose ancestral and contemporary lands First Unitarian now stands. We are so glad that each and every one of you is here with us today. Welcome again. If you are here for the first time or relatively new, please do make sure you stop by our welcome desk and get to know us a little bit better. We can help you get connected and plugged into all the exciting things that go around here all the time. If you're here because you're going through a hard time or you're worried about somebody else who is, please also connect with one of our chaplains. We've got a chaplain in the chat on Zoom, online, and we have a chaplain here in person as well. I invite you into a breath to begin our worship space and time together this morning. Wherever you are online, I invite you to light a chalice if you have one handy, as we light our chalice here in person with these shared words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and mysteries of this great gift.
You're fine. Thanks, Ray. I'm Jenna. I use she and her pronouns. And I know this might be hard to believe, but when I was a youngin', I was a cheeky little gal. Instead of having a can-do attitude, I had a don't tell me what I can't do attitude. I was ambitious and boisterous, assertive and loathed anything pink or Barbies. I felt, and in my childlike mind, I associated those characteristics with masculinity and not how girls were supposed to behave. I felt the subtleties of society trying to impose what girlhood meant onto me, and baby Jenna was not having that. So at the ripe old age of 5, I declared I wanted to grow up to be a boy, as if it were an occupation and not a gender identity. And you know what my dad did? He taught me how to tie a tie. And I think that's why we come to church. To feel embraced by a community that doesn't wish to impose who we are or who we should be onto us. To feel safety and comfort in finding out who we are and what we believe on our own terms. To feel accepted in all stages of our journey to self-discovery and to be welcomed home into the wholeness of who we are once we discover them.
Good morning. I love it when y'all are awake. I am Shannon Foos. I use the pronouns she, her, and Aja. And I am very excited because this morning we are going to welcome 11 new members to our congregation. Yay! So some of these folks have been with us a while. Maybe they're partners or spouses of someone who's been coming. Maybe they're folks who actually have just been in the building like a handful of times, so quite a commitment there. So they're going to be sharing their time, talent, and treasure with us and formalizing their commitment to being an official member. Here at First Unitarian, our mission is to listen in spiritual community, to listen deeply to others and ourselves, to open to wonder and transformation, and serve with love and humility. And these new members will be helping us in that journey. So, let us meet our new members.
Hi, my name is Jenna Cohen. I use she, her, and her pronouns. And I'm joining First Unitarian because when I came to Rochester in 2015, I was looking for a church, another UU community that felt like home in the way that mine did from Binghamton, which is where I'm from. And I wanted to solidify my commitment and dedication to our community within the church, but also to the social justice work that we do outside of it. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Patty Borges Madden. I use the pronouns she and her. I'm excited to be joining First Unitarian today. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. The main one is that I really need to be in a place where everybody is okay, where people are accepted no matter who they are. I also am always looking for a place where I can grow spiritually. And I feel like I found the place at First Unitarian.
Greetings. My name is Kathleen Wheaton. I use she and her pronouns. Part of my personal 2023 goals were to become more spiritually connected to like-minded people. I found just such a community here. I'm also proud of my commitment, time, and efforts in helping to establish the newly chartered Ontario Shores Cups chapter of the First Rochester Unitarian Church. I look forward to making many more connections in the future. Thank you and blessed be.
Hello, my name is Ray and I use she and they pronouns. And the reason why I have decided to join is because this is the first place of worship where I've really felt at home. And I love the feeling of the community and all of the friends that I've made, and I'm really glad to be a part of all of this.
Lori Gunther Fellows, she, her. I have been in and out of this church as a member or not for decades. Over the last year, I have been the unexpected beneficiary of incredible, unexpected support from this congregation without even being a member. I wish to join this community to experience more, make more new friends, and most of all, join others in making my own contributions to this church, its members, and its many opportunities to join locally, nationally, and internationally, helping others living on this beautiful planet.
My name is David, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm joining First Unitarian because I find myself drawn to your positivity, warmth, and values. I look forward to exploring the lessons of non-duality, the blessings of community, and the call to service. I hope to grow here as a person and as a UU. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nanette Hiller, and I use she, her pronouns. I started coming to First Unitarian late last summer with my daughter Nadia, seeking refuge. I was looking for a community that shared my family's social justice values and holds a deep respect for the worth of each individual person. Well, we found it, and we're very grateful. I look forward to joining as an official member and contributing to the cultivation of that refuge for myself and for all of the beloveds of the community.
Hello, my name is Susan Lawrence. My pronouns are she and her. I'm joining First Unitarian because I've been searching for a faith that aligns with my beliefs, that helps me to explore my spirituality, and that offers a variety of volunteer opportunities. Something inspires me every week when I come to this church, whether it be a beautiful piece of music, the powerful words of the minister's sermons, the stories that resonate from the lay associates, and the friendly interaction with other churchgoers. I feel that I have found a spiritual home, and I thank everyone for the warm welcome.
Hello, my name is Jenny Jones. I use she and her pronouns. I have found First Unitarian Church to be very friendly, welcoming, and supportive as a community. I find it refreshing that there are no required beliefs or creed in order to belong, and instead shared values of the worth and dignity of our fellow human beings and the work to create unity and justice for everyone. I am happy to continue my spiritual journey by becoming a member today.
Welcome our newest members, and I love how the cats and the dogs were present for that as well. I don't know if you noticed, but I thought that was fabulous. So yes, with a warm welcome, I call our 11 members forward. Come on up. Wherever you want. You're going to have 11 people. Let's see. There you go.
Well, welcome. It's obviously a monumental move to join a community.
Formalize your commitment to First Unitarian and Unitarian Universalism. But joining a congregation, it is but one moment in a lifelong journey of spiritual development. As Unitarian Universalists, right at the heart of our faith, of what it means to be together, is the idea of covenant, the promises that we make to one another. And you join our community here, but we're only one vessel of Unitarian Universalism. And we heard from Jenna right at the beginning, there are Unitarian Universalists in lots of other places. And so, as a symbol of this, I join my words with that of my colleague, the Reverend Manish Mishra Marzetti, and I'm going to ask you to make explicit some of the promises that new members enter into when you commit to our shared life. And so, if you agree to strive to live these out, please say yes. Will you enter into this faith community with hope and possibility in your hearts, pledging to participate in and support the ministries of this church? Will you covenant to remain true to the spirit of love that flows through this church and guides us? As you deepen into your spiritual journey, will you explore and share your unique gifts? Will you journey with us? Great, that would be awkward if you... And it's not just all of you. In turn, those who are already members of the congregation must recognize that by accepting others into the circle that already exists, we are changed by the presence of newcomers.
This is how we hope it to be. And so I hope that you will join in a similar set of promises. And if you're willing and able, please rise in spirit or in body, and I'll ask you some questions. And if you agree to strive to live out these promises, you'll type out into the chat or say out loud here, yes. That's right. Will you welcome these new members fully, as you were once welcomed, or as you wish you had been? Will you be open and inclusive in times when it is easy and in times when it is difficult? Will you seek to be supportive, reaching out in compassion when others are in need, but also encourage when you are in need? When there is disappointment and struggle, will you model how to stay in relationship and nurture the spirit of love? Will you journey together?
Yes.
Fabulous. You may now be seated. For our newest members, I hand you to Shannon.
So, after service, of course, you all are welcome to come into the Susan B. Anthony Lounge, where we'll finish your celebration and have you sign the official membership book. There also is the actual book that Susan B. Anthony signed in there as well that you can take a peek at, and everybody can stop by there as well. We're going to give you some gifts. One of them is a chalice pin, and I'm sure those who have joined in the recent years may have it on their name tags. This is but a small gift to you of all the wonder that you will bring to our congregation. Our flamen chalice symbolizes sharing, witnessing, generosity, sacrifice, courage, illumination, and love. We hope that as you wear it, you are reminded that these truths live in each and every one of you. Together, we build the beloved community. Your joining is a blessing to us all. Just like the chalice, you each bring a light, one that no one else can bring. Together in community, we allow our souls to be seen and shine. Together, we light the fires of justice. Together, we illuminate the world.
And so we close this ritual of blessing here in the service with a song. And no one's ever taken me up on this offer, but you could be the first and become an impromptu song leader now that you're a member. You don't have to. You're welcome to stay here and sing with us, or take your seats and join with the rest of the congregation as we welcome you with our song.
Please join in singing, There Is a Love.
You can head down. Welcome. You can head down.
Well, that's a lot of text. So, I'll sing, and then you sing back. Let's try that. There is a love, there is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. In this love. Let's try it all together. And there is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in
Thank you, new members. This now concludes your duty.
There is a love holding us. I invite you to join me into a time of meditation, prayer, and reflection as we rest in this love. I invite you to relax your body, finding a position that is comfortable and helps you feel centered. Perhaps with your feet firmly on the ground, perhaps with your eyes closed or your gaze softened. Whatever helps you sink into this present moment, to hear your heart beating, to feel your breath flowing. We'll rest in the silence for a few moments. Great mystery which grounds us and surrounds us. Sometimes it is all too much. Sometimes the weight of the world is too much to bear. The weight of our own difficulties. May I find this moment to let go and unfurl my grasp on all I cannot change, all I cannot fathom, all that I cannot hold by myself, even if I tried with all my might. And instead sink into this moment, into community, into that which holds all. And by doing so, open my heart so that I may let love pour into me like a vessel and through me with gratitude to all that upholds me and us and all. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. We enter now into ritual to bring what is on our hearts and to lay it on the altar of community and spirit. Honoring the complexities of this life, I invite you to bring to mind whatever grief or gratitude or growth is alive within you. Online, you are invited to type it into the chat to share, and here in the sanctuary, you're invited forward to light a candle at one of the altars. If you'd like an usher to bring a candle to you, simply raise your hand. May we now share in this ritual of community care and witness to one another's hearts. all that we hold in our hearts for ourselves, for each other, and for the world is held in this community and by the larger love that will not let us go. Amen. Blessed be.
As part of our time for meditation, we're going to learn a short hymn today, and I'm going to have the choir help me teach it to you. I think some of you might know it, for some of you it might be brand new, but we'll take a little bit of time singing this, and then we'll do the whole thing together. So, choir, can we sing the first 2 bars together and share with the congregation? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Loosen, loosen, baby. Can we have everyone sing them together? There's 2 bars. And loosen, loosen, baby. Cool. Now, choir, pay attention this time. 2 bars. Okay, 2 bars. We're going to go, you don't have to carry. Here we go, choir first. You don't have to carry. Everyone, and. Now here's my favorite spot. Choir with the pickup note. 1, 2, 3, 1. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Everyone together. 1 and 2. The weight of your world in your muscles and bones. And last little ending choir. Let go, let go, let go. Everyone. Let go, let go, let go. So doing our best to jump in when we feel comfortable. Let's do the whole verse together with the choir and congregation. 1 and 2. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. That's great. One more time. And loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Now let's take a little pause and learn a second part to this. Choir, will you help me with this? And we'll do 2 bars at a time. Choir, 1 and 2. Holy breath. And everyone together, let's do that. And holy breath. And nice and short on breath. Cool. Now, and whole choir, and holy name. Everyone together. And holy name. Now, choir to the end. Will you ease this pain? Everyone together. Will you ease this pain? Now, choir and congregation, this whole second part all together. Let's see how we do. Here's our starting note. 1 and 2. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? One more time. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Now, because we have to coordinate, let me see what's up here. Sing 2 times. Okay. Emily, could we go back to the first slide? Sweet. Excellent. And we're going to break all the rules. We're singing everything 1 time. For the sake of time. So, slide 1, 1 time. Slide 2, 1 time. And then we go back to the beginning. Okay, here we go. There's a starting note. 1 and 2. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Second slide. Holy breath and holy learning that with me today.
Hi. Ooh, too close. I'm Abby McGrifa, member here at First Unitarian and the Executive Director of the Climate Solutions Accelerator of the Genesee Finger Lakes region. My day-to-day work is focused on addressing the climate crisis, which could easily lead me to spend all my time dwelling on really, really scary, existential, life or death, doom and gloom kind of stuff. But deep in my heart, I'm an optimist, and I sincerely believe in humanity's capacity to do great and noble things. Also, the organization I work for is called the Climate Solutions Accelerator, so I actually spend most of my time focused on opportunities and potential and the path toward a better future. So I enjoy thinking about this stuff, so I was very grateful that Reverend Shari asked me to get up here today and talk a bit about my vision of what paradise looks like. So my understanding of what a better future could look like is largely based on the public engagement work that some of my colleagues did as part of the process of developing the Genesee Finger Lakes Climate Action Strategy. In case you didn't know, we do have a strategy that clearly defines what climate solutions our region should prioritize based on our primary sources of emissions and what local residents and community leaders from across sectors and demographic groups told us they envision for our region's future. For example, we know from this work that everyone cares about food. No matter who you are, you likely want increased access to healthy, nutritious, and locally sourced food, more green space, shade trees, community gardens, parks, and green roofs. We're surrounded by prime agricultural land, so we could and should have a strong, resilient local food system, meaning that we wouldn't have empty grocery store shelves next time a global crisis like COVID hits. We could have that, but currently we don't. However, I believe we all have a role to play in creating that slice of paradise. Another area that everyone cares about is transportation. People want environmentally sustainable, convenient, reliable, affordable, safe, and comfortable forms of transport, with all-electric transportation and improved walk and bikeability. This is great news, since transportation is our region's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. So if we're going to get ourselves out of this climate mess, we must radically transform our transportation system. As of now, we live in a very car-centric culture, where it's difficult for people who don't have a car to access jobs and services. Car ownership is very expensive, so this is a serious equity issue. Not to mention that cars are loud and dirty and dangerous. So we could have beautiful, safe streetscapes that prioritize humans instead of cars, along with a range of viable transportation options that get people where they need to go without pollution or hassle or excessive cost. This is not our current reality, but we all have a role to play in creating that slice of paradise. Buildings are another major opportunity area. Burning fossil fuels inside of buildings is dangerous and unhealthy in so many ways, so let's just stop doing it. There are fantastically effective technologies that we could be rapidly deploying across our region to improve people's health, lower their energy bills, and eliminate greenhouse gas emissions. Current progress toward this goal is unacceptably slow, but we all have a role to play in creating that slice of paradise. And I'd be remiss if I failed to mention all of the job opportunities that the transition to clean energy affords. Green jobs are typically good jobs that pay people a living wage so they can support their families and have financial stability. In a community like ours, where poverty rates are so high and employment opportunities are hard to come by for historically marginalized communities, we could be bold and intentional about creating workforce development programs and pipelines that prioritize equity and ensure that the clean energy workforce is diverse and inclusive. Currently, that's not really happening, but we all have a role to play in creating that slice of paradise. Of all the vision elements that informed the creation of the Genesee Finger Lakes Climate Action Strategy, the one that warmed my heart most was the focus on community care and building and strengthening communities. People recognize that paradise can only be achieved through active public participation in decision-making processes, a shared sense of mutual respect, safety, and care amongst community members, and long-range planning efforts that use the seventh-generation principle, a Haudenosaunee philosophy that emphasizes making decisions to advance sustainability 7 generations into the future, so that we're truly being good ancestors and thinking about the long-term implications of decisions we make today. It's also important to note that our region will likely see an influx of climate refugees and migrants from places that are experiencing more severe climate impacts. So the people who informed our regional vision point to the need for us to be thoughtful and proactive about how we welcome new residents to our region and plan for that population increase. In other words, our region could become a truly inclusive, thriving, democratic community if we're intentional about making it so. Currently, I don't think we're on track to achieve that, but I believe this is where Unitarian Universalists in particular have the opportunity to step up and lead and pave the way for others to follow, because every week we come to church to build the skills that our community needs to create that slice of paradise. I'm proud to be part of this church, where we explicitly accept and celebrate our differences, respect the inherent worth and dignity of every human, and prioritize justice, equity, and compassion in human relations with the goal of creating nothing short of world peace. We Unitarians support the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right to conscience, and the democratic process. And most importantly, perhaps, we recognize that we are part of the interdependent web of all existence, or in other words, that our ability to thrive depends on the health of the planet and all creatures on it. My vision of paradise includes all of that. It's how we'll need to approach our relationships with each other in the natural world if we're going to overcome the many environmental and social crises that we're currently facing. But those aren't normal beliefs in our society, and American culture does not reinforce these values. So I want to briefly encourage everyone to think holistically and systemically about how we can travel together toward paradise. After having done climate advocacy work for nearly a decade, I now see that if we're only talking about climate and clean energy, or steps that we can take as individuals to live more eco-friendly lives, we are kind of missing the point. I believe that our economic system is a primary root cause of much of the pain and suffering that exists in the world, because it is based on the extraction and exploitation of human and natural resources and the assumption that humans are fundamentally greedy, selfish creatures who will always put their self-interest above the interest of others. Our economic system also requires infinite, unfettered growth, which is clearly a bad idea on a finite planet. Furthermore, our economy defines value in exclusively monetary terms, which makes no sense once you think about it for 2 seconds, because obviously there are so many rich, rewarding aspects of being human that have absolutely nothing to do with money. Examples include playing with a child, helping a neighbor, volunteering for a cause that's important to you, going for a walk and smelling the flowers, and of course having sex and sleeping. As I envision it, paradise will have a regenerative economic system that equitably meets human needs and supports human well-being, while repairing environmental degradation and allowing us to live within the boundaries of what our planet can provide. Instead of humans serving the economy, I believe the economy should serve us. This can be a little scary to say out loud because it's an unorthodox and countercultural idea that requires us to rethink pretty much every aspect of our lives. So I'm deeply grateful that this church provides a space where I can explore and express these ideas in community with others and equip myself with the skills and courage I'll need to play a meaningful role in moving us all a little closer to paradise. So to conclude, I want to ask you for just 2 favors. First, please deepen your understanding of how our current economy works, develop a clear vision for what a better economic system could look like, and then boldly share that vision with others. I've personally found the regenerative economy framework helpful as a tool for keeping these conversations light and hopeful, and for avoiding the pit of doom that conversations about capitalism versus socialism can quickly become. If you're interested in learning more about that, I'll be out in the lobby after the service and will gladly share what I know. As for the second favor, this will sound weird, but I'd ask you to be a little more evangelical about how you show up in this world as a you. Don't do it in yucky, manipulative ways, of course, but please don't be shy about expressing your values and demonstrating that it's possible to relate to other people and the planet in a healthy, harmonious manner. To create paradise or anything remotely like it, we humans will need to fundamentally rethink how we live together and collaborate. And I believe the community we have here, though imperfect, can serve to illuminate the path forward. More people should have access to that path and be invited to journey with us on that path. Thank you for considering.
Thank you, Abby. Each week, we practice shared generosity to support the work and witness of Unitarian Universalism in Rochester, and half of our Sunday offering goes to partner organizations working to create a more just and loving world. Today, we share our plate with Drum, which stands for Diverse and Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Multicultural Ministries. It's one of the oldest and largest Unitarian Universalist people of color ministry and anti-racist community organization. Drum supports BIPOC UUs, hosting regional and national gatherings, online support, and worship opportunities as we work together to make Unitarian Universalism a spiritual home for people of many races, ethnicities, and cultures. On Thursday, Drum will host their online annual worship service, and all are welcome, and I encourage you to attend. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, our offering will now be received with gratitude.
Hello, my name is Bill Fugate. I use he, his pronouns. When I was a youngster, I pictured paradise as a place where there was no need for work, where everything was taken care of. Today, things seem more complicated. If there was no work, there would be no sense of achievement. If everything was taken care of, what would happen to the sense of connection that comes with people caring for one another? There was a tight-knit group of people at First Unitarian in the mid-1800s, several of them from Quaker backgrounds, who would have been uncomfortable with the idea of a passive paradise. They made caring for other people part of their daily lives, and they achieved so much in the movements to end slavery, advance women's rights, and liberalize religion. Unexpectedly, to me at least, several of them had been members of a cooperative farming community near Sodus. They call it a phalanx. We would call it a commune. Some of its buildings are still standing and are part of a local animal shelter. At its core were former Quakers from the Rochester area who had to leave their congregation because of their activities in opposition to slavery. The Fish family, future members of First Unitarian, were there. The father was the head of the commune. The mother and grown daughter were early women's rights activists. The son-in-law was a Unitarian from Massachusetts, who had been a member of a similar commune there. The Sodus commune lasted only a couple of years, but it did bring together several families who would later become part of our church. Other progressive Quakers would begin to leave their church also during that time, and some of them moved to First Unitarian. They left mostly because Quakers at that time were discouraged from mixing with non-Quakers, which was a problem for those who were opposed to slavery and wanted to join the abolitionist movement. In 1848, about 200 progressives left the Quaker organization in Western New York to form a separate group called the Friends of Human Progress. They declared that membership in the group was open, in their words, to, quote, Christians, Jews, Mohammedans, and pagans. Our own denomination did much the same thing, of course, but that was 4 decades later. Furthermore, the Friends of Human Progress expressed the belief that all people are inherently equal regardless of race or sex. A historian at Rutgers who studied this organization says it may have been unique in its time in declaring this belief. It also promoted what has historically been known as liberal religion. Its most prominent member in the Finger Lakes area expressed a thought that many youths will like. He said, religion has been emphatically embodied not in speculative theories, but in practical righteousness. Only a month after the progressives left the main Quaker body and declared their intention to work with others for social justice, 3 women from this group played key roles in organizing the world's first women's rights convention at Seneca Falls. 2 weeks after that, a follow-up convention was organized at the Unitarian Church in Rochester for women from the same group who began attending services at our church. Susan Anthony's sister and parents attended the convention at First Unitarian. She herself was teaching school in central New York at the time and missed these historic events. After her return to Rochester, she joined our church and embarked on a long career working full-time for progressive causes. She became the New York State agent for the American Anti-Slavery Society and later the national leader of the women's suffrage movement. She was a member of the Friends of Human Progress. She championed the ideas of Theodore Parker, the radical Unitarian minister in Boston who scandalized other ministers by publicly questioning the authority of the Bible. The Underground Railroad was in full operation at the time, assisting self-emancipated African Americans on their dangerous journey from the South to freedom in Canada. Some Underground Railroad networks operated entirely within the Black community, but there was a strong multiracial network in the Rochester area, led by Frederick Douglass, an African American who published an abolitionist newspaper here called the North Star, and who often joined Sunday afternoon gatherings of Quaker Unitarians at the Anthony Farm. The Underground Railroad was illegal, of course, which was why it was, quote, underground. Not everyone at First Unitarian supported it, but amazingly, at least 8 families from our small church are known to have been active in it. One entry in Susan Anthony's diary simply says, quote, fitted out a fugitive slave for Canada with the help of Harriet Tubman. In a dramatic story that has only recently been brought fully to light, members of our church helped to protect Frederick Douglass at a dangerous moment in his life. In the period just before the Civil War, an abolitionist named John Brown led an attack on U.S. Armory at Harper's Ferry in Virginia, intended to seize weapons and spark a slave uprising. After his capture, he was tried for treason and executed. On the day of his execution, Susan Anthony defiantly organized a protest meeting in Rochester that raised money for Brown's family. Frederick Douglass knew of Brown's plans, having discussed them with him at length. He declined to support the attack on Harper's Ferry, however, and was lecturing in Philadelphia when the attack occurred. Despite that, federal authorities sent a telegram to the sheriff there with instruction to arrest Douglass as a collaborator with Brown. The message was received by a telegraph operator in Philadelphia named John Hearn, a former member of the Sodus Commune, who had close family ties with the Quaker Unitarians in Rochester. Risking severe legal penalties, he notified Douglass of the danger he was in and delayed delivery of the telegram until Douglass had time to slip across the river to New Jersey. Douglass, knowing he had papers in his home in Rochester that could be used to incriminate him, sent a carefully worded and unsigned telegram to his close friend Frank Blackall, a telegraph operator in Rochester, who was a member of First Unitarian. Blackall understood the cryptic message and passed it along to the Douglas family. Because Douglas was easily recognizable through his fame as a public speaker, he decided to return to Rochester surreptitiously and make plans for leaving the country. Amy and Isaac Post, Underground Railroad activists with very close ties to our church, secretly conveyed him to a carriage that took him to the Canadian border near Buffalo. Douglas was met there and taken to safety by William Hallowell, a member of our church who happened to be in Canada on business. Douglas traveled from there to Britain, where he remained until after the Civil War had started. Imagine the tragic and momentous consequences if things had gone differently. None of our church histories tell of this event. Probably very few people knew about it. Many of the details were recently published for the first time in a biography of Amy Post that is largely based on letters and other original materials. Far more details about these amazing people can be found in a document called The Quaker Unitarians of Rochester, which is planned to be on our church website. I hope we can all live lives as righteous and as fulfilling as theirs. That would be paradise enough for me.
High bar we're setting. But when we welcome new members into our community, I feel a need to speak to what is this all for? What are we heading toward? What is heaven to a Unitarian Universalist? So these slices of paradise are what we offer. 3 different visions, or maybe 4. Our third one, and it again draws on the Unitarian Universalist idea of a focus on salvation in this life, because this is what we know, comes from one of our youth. Claire imagined a drag queen. Can't quite tell if the sun is on it, but this drag queen is silhouetted in a doorway, ready to launch into the next thing. And this drag queen is armed with many tools, many ways of moving through the world. And our second slide shows her favorite resource in wrestling with difficult things. It's not a conventional weapon, not a conventional way of wrestling with challenge or conflict in the world. It's a book on transformative justice. And with this and all of her other skills and team, she fights crime. The really important things that deal death in this world. Things like wage theft and pollution and corruption and voter suppression and insider trading. It seems like a joke, but it's not. These economic crimes, along with rationing access to health care, environmental challenges, and other things that seem like victimless crimes, actually deprive us of collective human life far greater than any individual or personal acts of violence. And this drag queen, Claire, imagines she's got transformative justice as well as martial arts skills, and, well, she does a lot in the world. She also, when invited, goes to concerts in Tennessee with Lizzo. For those of you who don't know, vocal artist Lizzo, a true queen among us mere mortals, invited many drag queens to her concert this week in Tennessee in advance of that state's ban on drag shows. Here's the thing about this vision and these other slices of paradise shared with us today. They're beautiful, courageous, demanding risk and every ounce of all of us together. But I don't want a heaven that requires crime. I don't want a heaven that requires a dying planet. I don't want a heaven that requires enslavement and voter disenfranchisement. I don't want that paradise, but this is the reality that we move through, past and present. And as Unitarian Universalists, we focus on salvation in this life. Our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors, they declared that there was no hell that God would doom us to. But they and we must acknowledge that, well, humans have a way of creating hell for each other here on earth. If hell is a place on earth, so too is heaven for Unitarian Universalists. So too is this invitation to all of us to recognize and create and feed each other little slices of paradise wherever and however we can. Imagine a world where Jordan Neely boards a train hungry and is offered compassion and food. That's a heaven I want to be a part of. Imagine little kids learning to tie ties and expressing their gender and power and agency and exploration with the support of parents and grandparents and a church that loves them unconditionally. That's the kind of heaven I want to be a part of. Imagine a place where we are all invited into and supported in taking risk and demonstrating courage because that's mirrored in the people around us. That's the kind of heaven I want to be a part of. Imagine a place where each of us reach out when we're in need, knowing that whatever lies that we have been told that we have to go this alone are something we can set down and find ourselves held in a love that goes beyond anything that any of us can do all by ourselves. That's the kind of heaven I want to be a part of. Imagine a place where the beauty and music that unfolds all around us all the time is something that we have time for. That's the kind of heaven I want to be a part of. And so I invite you into this space and this time to sing our closing hymn with us today. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing Blue Boat Home.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far
for just a minute because we have a special guest and a special guest announcement because this guest is sick today, but through the magic of the internet, which we know a little bit about, and the incredible work of our AV team, who's here each and every week. And also, it turns out, sometimes on Saturday nights, when we raise 44% more than the goal, as we did last night. We've got a special announcement by video today from a new team member who will be joining our team this summer.
Good morning, First Unitarian Church of Rochester. I am so happy to be joining you coming this July as your assistant minister. I definitely appreciate this opportunity to share my talents and gifts and ministry with all of you. Rochester has been my home for many, many years, except for the past 8 or 7. I think it was 7 years. And I look forward to coming back. So if you see me skipping down the aisles of Wegmans, that's why. I mean, literally, I will be skipping down the aisles of Wegmans. If you see me in line to get a garbage plate, yeah, that's why too, even though I really should not be eating any of that. Or, without dignity, just eating country sweet wings. I love country sweet wings. I always have to have it when I'm in Rochester. I have family there and friends and now a church community. And I look forward to joining all of you at First Unitarian Church of Rochester coming this summer as your assistant minister. In the meantime, feel free to look me up. You can Google me. There's plenty to find out and plenty to discover. But one easy place and is my website, and that is Rev, R-E-V, Verdis, VERDIS.com. I look forward to joining you, all of you, and many, many blessings until we meet each other and see each other again. Thank you.
Don't worry, Reverend AJ is not going anywhere. So, yeah. Verdis will be joining us this coming summer as our halftime minister for growth. And so this experimental position will allow us to lean into new adventures, experiments, ways of increasing how we move in the world, to take some of the risks and the joy and the invitation that this world offers us. And we're incredibly excited for Verdis to join us. We have, through the generosity of some people in this congregation, been able to fundraise for his first year here, but we'd like him to stay for longer. And so you'll be invited to give to support this experiment in the weeks coming forward. But Verdis, we are so excited for you to join us, and we've got an incredible team here within this congregation and our staff team, and I'm very excited for the ways Verdis will bring us into a new chapter of Unitarian Universalism, First Unitarian, and Rochester. Yeah, but it's still... But it's still Sunday morning, and so we've got connection, and we're going to close up worship, but stick around, find yourself in small groups, meet each other. So new members, we'll be celebrating you in the Susan B. Anthony Lounge. Young adults are meeting up in Williams. We've got a parenting group in Gilbert Hall talking about neurodiversity. People who are parenting trans children and youth are in 110. And Bill Fugate, who just offered us a slice of paradise, was going to give a building tour today, but we poached his voice for this sermon. So he's going to do that later, not today. Abby will be in the lobby. Go get coffee, go meet each other, connect in community. Join me in extinguishing our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, go seeking justice, go seeing beauty, go in love. Amen.